Hello once again everyone, Original Blood Ace is back with another video. The video this time is simple, Kirby Triple Deluxe review time. I beat the game, the story mode that is, about 2 days ago now. It took me about 3 days to beat, and I only played, what was it, the first day I did the first 3 worlds out of the 6. No, there's no 7th secret world. And then I did World 4 and 5 the next day, and then I did the final world the 3rd day. So, not too long of a game. You could probably get it done in 1 day, especially if you're not going for the full collectibles for 100%. Now, of course, according to my game, I'm at 70%, not 100, but that's because I haven't beaten some of the extra modes with every character, and I'll get into that. Well, I'll just say right now it's called Kirby Fight. As well as I have not collected all the keychains, because there's over 250 of them. I have like 110 or something like that. So, about half of them, roughly. Yeah. And there will be some minor spoilers, I would say, in my review, so if you don't want to hear them, I mean, I'm not going to be telling you like where things are hidden or anything, but talking about bosses and whatnot. So if you don't want spoilers, then you can just when I come to the point where I'm about to say a spoiler, I'll say spoilers, and then you can fast forward like 5 seconds or so in the clip. But let's get into it, shall we? So let's start with the good things, the pros of Kirby Triple Deluxe. First of all, it's a very fun and a very relaxing game. Unlike a lot of games I've played, especially like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, I had like next to no stress in this game. Like, it's a game you can just sit down, lay there on the couch and play it, and just coast through it. I mean, it's a really enjoyable, relaxing game. It's definitely not a what do you call it? A game that you can say, you know, oh, this game will drive you crazy. It'll really test your skills. Not really. I mean, there's a few bits here and there, but for the most part, you can tell it's like they were making this for a very I don't know if you'd say for newcomers to Kirby, because I haven't played the recent Kirby games. The last one I played was back on the N64, but at least in my opinion, it almost felt like this game was made for kids. And I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm meaning like it's just a fun, relaxing, not 100% simple, but a simpler game to play. And so that was a nice change of pace for me, because like, especially after like the Wonderful 101, oh man, that game drove me crazy. But yeah, so very good level, or very good game. No stress. There might have been 1 or 2 levels that, you know, kind of get you a little frustrated. Oh, and before I forget, because I didn't write this down, was I'm not sure if it's a glitch or if they did it on purpose in the game, but if you have the game, you might notice this too. Every time you restart your game, like if you save and then exit, and when you start up your story mode again, you always go back down to 7 or 8 lives. I forget which it is. You could be up to like 20 lives and then save your game, but when you come back, you go back down to 7 or 8. I haven't seen anyone talk about that, but me and one of my friends, that happens to both of us, so I don't know if they did that on purpose or what. And I never actually got a game over in the game. That's how you can know it wasn't even a hard... Well, actually, Donkey Kong was hard, and I didn't get a game over in that. I think the closest I came was I had like 3 or 4 lives left. I had to kill myself a lot on that game a few times to get 1 Sunstone, which is a collectible. But anyway, let's move on here. The music. It was very... What's the word? Soothing, calm, fun, you know, kind of upbeat. Kind of kept you in a good mood. It was much better than I expected it would be. Like, I thought it would be, you know, oh, it's decent music, it's fine. But it was actually, it wasn't like, say, let's see, what's a good example? Metroid Prime 2 for me is my most, at least currently in time, or at least at this point in time, my favorite music in any video game is still Metroid Prime 2. But it's not that good, but it's still very much better than what I thought it would have been. Level design was very impressive. Pretty much every level, for the most part, brought something new. I really enjoyed circus levels. I guess you could say that's kind of a mini spoiler, but not really. They're similar to the Boo houses, the ghost houses in Mario games, you know, where they have illusions and then there's like fake doors and tricks and stuff, and it messes with you. I always love those types of levels. What else? Transformations. They were fun and different. They differed greatly between them. Kirby Fight was an extra mode, basically similar to Smash Bros. You fight on a stage, 2D stage, and then you just beat up the other Kirby's. It's kind of like basically, if you've played Smash Bros, you've played the in the classic mode where you fight 10 enemies and then Master Hand or whatever. On this, and then you at one point you fight the Fighting Kirby team or the Kirby team or whatever, and they all have their different abilities. That's kind of what this is, except you're one of the Kirbys taking on other Kirbys with different abilities, and it's pretty fun. So that's a good thing to play a bit after the story mode's done. You start off with this, you don't even have to beat the story to unlock it or anything. Collectibles, while the Sunstones weren't too hard to find, which were you actually needed to find the majority of them to unlock the bosses and stuff, and actually be able to progress to the next world. Or they don't even call it, that was kind of a weird thing I noticed, they don't even call it like world 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it stages inside. I don't know if that's in every Kirby game, probably is, but just a nice change of pace. Anyway, there's only about 2 of the Sunstones, I think, in the entire game, and there's 100, so that's 2 out of, or 98 of them I already could find on my own. But 2 of them I had to actually look up online, because they were driving me crazy, I couldn't find them. But yeah, and then there's the keychains, which are collectible. They're fun to collect. I don't think they actually do anything. I mean, you do unlock a rank type thing, for like 25, and then 50, and then 100, and then I'm guessing 250 after that or something. Now, I don't know if you actually unlock anything after you've got every single one of them, but like I said, I only have like not even half of them, just under half. But they're fun to collect if you're like finding collectibles in a game. I mean, not all of them. How do you describe it? It's not, you don't even collect them all in like how you would think. For example, you go through a level, you find maybe 3 keychains, and then you get randomly 3 keychains out of them. So you can play the levels over and over again, and you keep collecting them and getting more and more and more. Plus, you can use play coins on your 3DS to exchange for getting a chance at a new one. Yeah. So what else here? The Supernova ability, kind of a minor spoiler, but you see it in the commercials and in the trailer and everything, where Kirby gets that super suckage ability. Suckage, is that a word? I don't even know. Super sucking ability. It was pretty cool. I did feel they kind of went a little bit too much of it. It seemed to pop up every 3 levels or 4 levels maybe. So I don't know. And this is a minor spoiler, I guess. But if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead 10 seconds or so. But actually sucking up bosses near the end of the game, like you go back and you fight through some of the bosses, it's not even really a fight because you're literally just using the Supernova suck ability. And so, like the very first boss, the tree, you literally don't even have to fight him, you just suck him right up. And the funny thing was, even his health bar gets ripped off the screen and you sucked up his health bar. So you're like, well, he's definitely not coming back because his health bar's gone. But that was definitely funny and an enjoyable ability added to the game, that is. The 3D is another pro, I would say. It was actually pretty well done, I gotta say, in this game. Like, it at some points, for sure, it pretty much forced you to use the 3D at points to be able to see what you're doing and like tell if an enemy's in the background or in the front ground, which brings me to another point, I should say. The whole thing about going in the front and the back, it was above mediocre, but not, you know, like, oh my god, fucking amazing. But anyway, back to the 3D. I know most people don't use the 3D anymore on their 3DS. It kind of wore off for them, the novelty. They don't really care for it anymore. But for me, I never turn the 3D off my 3DS. I just like it that much. And then the last good thing I wanted to bring up was the final boss fight. It didn't go on too long, which I like, because unlike in Wonderful 101, if you remember and you watched my playthrough, that final boss was an hour and a half long fucking video. Then again, it would have been an hour if I actually knew what I was doing. But the final boss in this game, again, kind of minor spoilers. If you don't want to know what the boss is, then fast forward 5 seconds. So it's a giant queen bee insect thing. It was a bit challenging, but I beat her on my second attempt. I would have beaten her on my first, but you literally had to fight another fight right before her, and I had already used up my healing food and I was already at low health, so I was expecting when you finally fight the boss of the game that you would start with full health, but nope. So I didn't get very far, and then I had to do it on my second try where I got back to full health. And the boss of the game, she has like, what, 3 or 4, yeah, I think about 3 kind of sections where you're like, oh, I beat her, and then she's back, and then, oh, I beat her, nope, she's back one more time. And you can probably guess that the supernova sucking ability comes into play at the end of the game. But now let's get into the cons, because there were a few. First of all, the story. Nothing amazing. But then again, I don't think a Kirby game really needs to have a deep story. You know what I mean? Because like I said before, it's just a fun-loving, relaxing game. The story was mediocre for what it was. I mean, it wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't anything special. It's forgettable, you know. So the story, not exactly a strong feature of the game, but it's not gonna, you know, kill the game or make you say, ah, fuck it, I'm not getting it. Would have been nice to have a few more transformations, because I think there's only 25 in the game. Now, at first glance, or when you first hear that, you might think 25 is actually, it seems like a decent number. But when you realize that there's, you know, I don't remember how many levels in total, 50 or so, that's not quite enough. I would have said 50 transformations would have been cool. Maybe even 40, to be generous. But it just kind of seemed, at least by the halfway point in the game, that you're like, okay, I really like this ability and it works pretty much for all cases, so I'm just going to stick with this one, you know? But whatever. Oh, by the way, do I even have a favorite ability? Let's see. I like the spear. The spear was quite useful. The ninja one, not samurai. There was one other one. I can't remember what it was. Oh well. Another one of the things I was not a huge fan was, oh yes, the Cloud boss. I don't know if you want to count that as a spoiler, because if you played any Kirby games, I think he's a boss in every fucking Kirby game. I remember him being in the last one I played on the N64, and when I saw him as a boss on Triple Deluxe, I was just like, no, not you. I don't remember how you fight. All I remember is I don't like you, and you were a bitch to fight in the first game. Or in the last game I played. And then there's one other con, I guess you could call it, which was the lack of online in the Kirby fight mode. While it's not a huge deal, it really would have added a lot of replayability to the game. Then again, you know, Nintendo and their lack of online, or as I should say, Nintendo don't do online. So, overall, Kirby Triple Deluxe is one of the 3DS's must-have games, I would say. You know, along with Fire Emblem Awakening and Super Mario 3D Land and Kid Icarus Uprising and A Link Between Worlds and Ocarina of Time and Star Fox 64 and those types of things. But would I say it's my favorite 3DS game? Nah. A Link Between Worlds still holds that title. Because for me, I'm kind of biased with Zelda. But anyway, I've always liked the Kirby character. It was nice to play one finally again, since the last one I played, like I said, back on the N64. Crystal Shards was the name, I'm pretty sure. Or was it Adventure of the Crystal Shards? I think it was just Crystal Shards. But, so I'm going to have to say that I'm going to give Kirby Triple Deluxe a solid and a respectable 8.5 out of 10. Maybe, you know what, maybe I could even push it to an 8.75 out of a 10. So very well done game, very good game, very fun game. So good job, HAL Laboratory, the developer. You guys did a good job. Keep it up, and can't wait to see what you guys do next. Although hopefully it's, you know, I don't know if I'd want to say another Kirby game, unless they're involved with Smash Bros. Anyway, I've babbled on long enough. I'm Original Blood Ace. Stay tuned. More videos coming soon, as always.
I'm the cult of personality, the cult of personality, the cult of personality.